What do you think, Jules? Do you think
I was just going to say, do you want me to do a bit of an intro?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that sounds good.
I think I wish Susan lived a bit closer to us, because then we could all have her husband come around and give us a muffin. Now they sound lovely. Okay. So yeah, just to repeat again that the meeting is being recorded, because we have had people request a recording afterwards who couldn't make it today. So if you want to leave your camera off if you don't want to be recorded, that's great, but we'll probably top and tail the presentation anyway. So as a bit of an introduction to Nature Buddies Network, so Nature Buddies came about from a previous project that we've been running since 2016 called Stepping into Nature, which is a project that was run by Dorset, well, at the time, Dorset AONB, which is obviously now Dorset National Landscape. That's our new name, rebranding. And throughout that was a project that helped people connect to landscape and activities, nature-based activities, particularly people who were in a carer's role or people that were living with dementia, and so, or another long-term health condition. And we wanted to make the countryside more accessible and more inclusive. So we worked with 13 different partners around nature-based activities. What was identified through that, not just within Dorset, but nationally through other projects we sort of linked in with, is this not having a person to go with. So for some people, actually just stepping out the door and getting into nature can be quite difficult. There's lots of anxiety, lack of confidence, not knowing where to go. And so it's good to have somebody to go with. And that's how Nature Buddies came about. We worked with Natural England and the National Academy for Social Prescribing and another project in Nottingham to create a Nature Buddies toolkit, which would help people and organisations develop a Nature Buddy network. And last year we were lucky to get funding from the National Heritage Lottery Fund to deliver a sort of a larger pilot of Nature Buddies network in Dorset. And part of that was part of the funding is a lot of webinars and information sharing to try and get the network started, to try and get volunteers involved and organisations who could host the volunteers. So that's a bit about the background of the Nature Buddies Network. And now I'm going to pass you over to Kate, who's going to introduce the project a little bit, and then I'm going to top up later on halfway through the presentation. So I shall speak to you all later.
Hi, everyone. Can you see that presentation okay? Yep, brilliant. Okay. So just to start with, we've just got a slide here which just gives some information. It's the dictionary definition of a buddy. So a buddy is someone who does an activity with you so that you can support and encourage each other. And Nature Buddies, the purpose of the Nature Buddies is a Nature Buddy is a volunteer who can offer one-to-one support to a person to gradually increase their confidence and ability to enjoy engaging with nature. And you'd support people to take part in some nature-based activities and help them to overcome any barriers that stand in their way, and help them find what best suits that person that you're supporting to help them to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. Because as Jules said, for some people, taking that first step can be quite a huge thing for them. And they can face lots of barriers, such as finding out what activities are out there, not knowing where to go, not knowing how to access that activity or finding transport to get there, not knowing what to wear, or there might be some admin forms that they need to complete. And for other people, they can have that real fear of joining in a new group and not wanting to do that on their own. And at the same time, there's a huge need for people to have support to help them to overcome social anxiety, loneliness and isolation. So the Nature Buddy really is that person who bridges the gap between somebody being referred to go on an activity or advised to go on an activity and them actually taking part in it. So you'd be that friendly one to support for them to help lessen those anxieties, reduce their worries and help them to take part in that activity. So when we're talking about nature buddies, our definition of nature is quite broad. So we're talking about nature, which is everything in the natural world, but also the heritage that shapes our connection to it. Oh, Jan, can't see the presentation. Can everybody else see it okay? Yeah, okay.
That's fine. We'll be sending the recording out anyway, so
Yeah,
Jan can always
okay.
catch up with it.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Jan. Okay, so yeah, so nature, we're talking about everything in the natural world, but also the heritage that shapes our connection to it. So we're looking at the plants and animals, but also our beautiful landscape, our coastal areas, and also our historic places and archaeology, and the traditions and stories and memories that sit behind that and can all be shared. So the benefits of nature-based activities. So why do this? Well, there is an abundance of scientific evidence out there which goes to show the huge benefits for connecting with nature and heritage. So that could be just taking in the beauty of a garden or learning about natural history or visiting an outdoor space. And that's where Nature Buddies is quite different because it really focuses on that connection with the outdoors. So it's not just about observing it, but it's actually connecting with it. And that's what helps to alter our brain chemistry and affect how we think and we feel and we behave. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that as you improve your connection with nature, then your mental health and well-being improves too. And as you can see from this little list of things here, so it can help to reduce stress, fatigue, anxiety, and depression, um, boost your immune system, reduce chronic disease, for example, but also helps with those feelings of belonging and purpose and meaning in life. So there's a wide range of benefits. So what is a nature buddy? So a nature buddy is a facilitator. So you'll be somebody that supports an individual to gradually increase their confidence and ability to enjoy engaging with nature and help build links into other groups and working with other projects or services to help people access those. You'll be that enabler, so you'll be supporting them and accompanying them to take part in an activity and helping them to overcome those barriers that we talked about. So you'll be that positive person, helping them to enjoy nature and participating with it alongside them. You'll also be a knowledge sharer, so sharing your passion for the outdoors with them and helping to find out what best suits that person and supporting them to achieve their nature-based goals. And we're asking for a minimum of a 4 hour a week commitment. Sorry, 4 hours a month commitment, which is about 1 hour or 2 hours a week. And we're asking Nature Buddies to sign up for 6 months. And there'll be lots of training that you can participate in alongside that. So what makes a good buddy? So you don't have to be a nature expert, but obviously you have to have an appreciation, interest in nature and the outdoors. Good interpersonal skills, so being a good listener, somebody who's friendly and warm, empathetic and resilient, but also somebody who has kind of an understanding of the person that you're going to be supporting and somebody who can approach people without prejudice, and somebody who takes that professional approach to volunteering. But overall, it's somebody who can help somebody to enjoy nature and be caring and understanding. And we've just got a little video to show you next, and I really hope you'll be able to see this and hear the sound. So I'll play it, but it just kind of summarizes what I've just said in a nutshell, really. Okay, I'm now going to pass over to Jules, who will continue.
You actually move the slides forward in case I get an issue when I take over. Sometimes it's a problem. If you've got any questions, Claire, we'll sort of pick up the questions in a minute. I'll just run through this and then we'll go through the questions that anybody's got. So the kind of things that you will be doing, this is depending on what organisation you're working for, because we have, and I'll explain later on, we have different opportunities for volunteering. So it could be providing regular support to enable a person to visit or walk to their local green spaces or open spaces, their parks. And really encouraging people who might not normally engage with nature and outdoor environments and nature into nature. It could be working with a person on an activity they'd like to do. So they might have a goal that they want to do something. It might be something they like, or a past hobby that they used to do that they can't do so easily now. And it's about being aware of the key messages. So we're not expecting people to be nature experts or environment warriors, but it's about just knowing the key messages around the benefit of being outside and what nature can give to us for our well-being. Next slide. Brilliant, thank you. So the opportunities that we have at the moment available for volunteering is there is a volunteer link to an organisation that already offers a nature-based activity. So that's a volunteer that's going to be within an organisation. And it's not necessarily just that role, the nature buddy. You will be part of their organisation as a volunteer. And part of that role will be to offer nature-based activity, nature buddying. So to offer that support. There could be a nature buddy volunteer, walking buddy companion that can help people go for a gentle walk from home to the local green space or parks for a walk. And that's about helping that person gain the confidence to get out into their own environment, into their own green spaces. Or it could be a nature buddy volunteering to help somebody to get out into nature in their home. So that might be a volunteer to help somebody get out in the garden or carry out a task, maybe in the greenhouse if they've got one, or just sitting, listening to the birds, bird watching, or some sort of other activity within nature-based. And the last two opportunities are going to be organised and overseen by Volunteer Centre Dorset. And Helen, I didn't know whether you wanted to say anything at this point.
Yeah, thanks, Jules. Hi, everyone. My name's Helen. I'm from the Volunteer Centre. So we're partnering with Dorset National Landscape to work on this project together. And we're going to be hosting the kind of from home opportunities, which we're kind of looking at as buddies within the community. So, Jules, did you want me to go over now what that might look like? Is this a good time? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that'd be
okay,
fantastic. Yeah.
Lovely. So this is something that we get quite a few inquiries about already, where maybe there's a GP or an occupational therapist or somebody who works within the community who identifies people who are possibly struggling from not being able to go out and access nature. And we often get referrals from them for people who maybe would like to go for a small walk from home, but don't feel confident enough to be able to do that on their own. Or, for example, we've had inquiries about referrals for people who maybe there was a lady who had a fall and then just kind of really lost her confidence to get out and enjoy her garden again, and really just wanted to get out and kind of potter around, maybe plant a few seedlings, nothing too strenuous, but really was not feeling confident to do that on her own. So those are the sorts of referrals we're getting, and those are the sorts of tasks that we're looking for help with for people to be helped with at home. So how that might look like is that if you signed up to be a nature buddy within the community to help people from home, you would be signed up as a volunteer, and then we would, as we get referrals in, if they're within your area, we would send an email out to everybody just sort of saying, we've had this referral, there's a lady who would like to go for a walk once a week. just locally for sort of half an hour. Would anybody be up for meeting her and seeing if that's something you could help with? And if it is, then at that point we could share more information with you. And really, it has to work both ways. I think we've kind of talked about this in detail about how we want you guys to really enjoy it as well. So the match has to be right. And so it's really important that we match you with someone, maybe if you've got similar interests, or somebody that you will find common ground with as well. And then we've been talking about possibly matching with someone for maybe 6 sessions. So maybe a period of 6 weeks if you're meeting once a week, and just meeting with them possibly at their front door, and then just walking along the river or to the local park or something like that, just out and about, a nice gentle stroll, and then back home. Yeah, and I think in quite a relaxed way, there's no pressure from us for it to be ongoing beyond the 6 weeks, but equally, if it was working really well, then it's something that we could review at the 6 week point as well, and possibly continue with it as well. So it kind of needs to work for everybody involved, and we'll be here to kind of guide you along that as well, and help with any inquiries as well. I think that's probably it in a nutshell. So we can maybe there might be questions that come up from that after, maybe, Jules, and we could maybe cover them if anyone's got any after as well.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. We should have plenty of time at the end to answer any questions, so that's good. Brilliant, thanks, Helen. There's only a few slides left, so just following on from what Helen was saying, what the volunteers can do, or what we're thinking that would be suitable. Oh, can you forward the slide, please? Sorry, I'm forwarding at my end and it's not forwarding it. So it's about meeting that person regularly over a agreed period, taking part in nature-based activities together, and then encouraging volunteers to find ways there's potentially to integrate that person into existing groups. So it could be somebody that wants to go for a local walk or wants to join a health walk, maybe. It's very much tailored to that person, and it's very flexible. So sort of, if we have a volunteer that fits, we can work with it. And that, again, talking about the part of the VCD partnership. What we're not expecting volunteers to do is provide any personal care or any kind of therapy. You're not counsellors, not therapists. We don't expect you to meet at non-agreed times. It's a partnership. And we don't expect people to provide transport either. That's if you're within a volunteer host organisation, then that's down to the discretion of that organisation and yourselves. I didn't forward that. You didn't forward what slide are we on? Training.
We just moved it on to training. Yeah.
Brilliant. So the training is there is some core stuff. There's some nature-based and some health stuff. The nature-based and the health stuff is kind of voluntary. It depends whether you're interested in it, want to do more about it. And then VCD will have a core stuff that will be needed to be carried out, like safeguarding, that is within their general volunteering policies. Is that about right, Helen? Anything else on that? No? Cool. And then we've got some nature-based stuff. And this is kind of like an ad hoc as we go along. If there's something people are particularly interested in, we can look at what actually opportunities are out there. And especially around the health as well. There may be things that people were more interested in taking, like basic first aid. There may be some stuff around mental health awareness. And it's just whatever it helps to make people feel confident in being able to support their volunteers and support their clients. So they are kind of as we go along and see what comes up. We're also going to try and get some taster days if we can get some taster activities or some opportunities to go and learn other things within nature-based stuff. So we're working on that, and that will be as we go along, we'll just be developing more and more for that. Next slide, please. So what's in it for the volunteers? As Helen was saying, we want this to be a two-way street. So we want people who are volunteering to also benefit. So there's a chance to develop new friendships and skills, not just with clients, but with other nature buddies, other volunteers. And there's a feeling of being you know, being part of something meaningful and making meaningful difference to somebody who needs that support. There's induction training into the various aspects of the role, and I was looking at the other training that's available. That will be ongoing, and we're looking at potentially having some networking days where people can get together and talk about where they go, what's working, what's not working, suggestions of different activities. There is a development of understanding your understanding of and increase the connection to nature stuff and landscape, history, wildlife, culture. There's all sorts of opportunities to get involved in different things. There's a wealth of online resources that we have. And like I said, we can tailor stuff. So if there's something somebody's particularly interested in, we can have a look and see what we can do. And it's all about gaining that experience in not just the social care sector, but also the environment sector. So there's advantage of, if you want to go into that line of work, you can gain some experience within that, get you in front of people that and learning new skills. Next slide. I don't remember which one this is. So I was talking to somebody at the very beginning about nature buddies, and they summed it up as that accessing nature, for some of us, it's easy. Accessing nature is the first step, but it's like opening the door to a party and there's a room full of strangers there. And it can be challenging, especially if you don't know anybody. I, for one, don't like attending new activities that I don't know people. And that nature buddy just helps you get over that threshold and gets you into the party. And then, yeah, the sky's your limit, really, after that. And that next slide, and on this slide, there's a few links, and they'll be on when we send the presentation out, they'll be on there. A little bit more information about the Nature Buddies Network. We've also got our site, Picnics in the Parks, which is a site that has lots of different activities that can be done, particularly useful for people delivering Nature Buddy experiences at home. There's videos in there of the landscape, there's some stories in there, some activities to do. And it's just going through a revamp, so there'll be more stuff on there to be able to do. And then there's the link to the Nature Buddies Toolkit that was created with ourselves, Natural England, and the National Academy for Social Prescribing. And with that, I think that's all the presentation. We can take any questions. I know there's a couple of questions in the chat. Yeah, shall I? You want to stop the presentation, and then we'll see what questions there are in the chat. If I just go through the chat ones, Claire was asking about time frame. It's basically your availability. So there may be people that want to have available at weekends. I think that's right. I'm just looking at Helen for nodding. So really, you would register what your availability is, and it's dependent on whether somebody can match up. We do have a process for the referral. Susan, we can actually send you a link to a webinar that we did around the referral process that will take you through that. But I think that's all the questions in there. Lindsay?
Nice to see you all. That was lovely. Really, it's lovely to be able to know that there's another charity that's doing something similar like this that really does look out for those people who are on their own and lonely and need support like this. It's great. I work for a charity in Poole. We run a befriender service, so it's quite similar. And I was joining the call today because I was intrigued to hear about what Nature Buddies do, and we might be able to have some patients that might be really interested in linking up. So fantastic! Thank you for the slides. A couple of questions came to mind with regards to the types of people they'll be linked or matched with. Are they people who, and I'm sorry I missed a few minutes at the beginning, who are living, well, and they don't have lots of any complexities other than maybe frailty? Would you say, like, if they're taking them out, the volunteer on their own with them, is there any kind of danger to the volunteer, as it were, from a health and safety? And then do you have any discounts or connections with local parks and gardens that you can offer your volunteers to maybe get free entry into certain places or things like that? Obviously, I'll have a look at your links that you're going to send round, but it's just a wondering whilst I've got you. Thank you.
Helen, did you want to take the criteria one first?
Yeah, sure. So I think we won't really know fully until the service starts, what sorts of referrals we will have. Although from kind of already doing kind of a similar thing in a under a different name, obviously every referral is different, as you can imagine. But we do ask some safeguard. So when a referral comes in, we ask some safeguarding questions regarding that person, and that would include maybe level of support needed. So if there's a history of or if they know of any reason why this might be slightly more complex, and then that would be for us to discern whether that was something that we were comfortable with one volunteer attending, or possibly whether it would be two people attending together. So if somebody was really unsteady on their feet but wanted to go for a walk, it might be that possibly two people could go, just to provide like an arm on each side if that was needed at any point, if there was steps or something like that. So I think it is case by case, and I think that's the joy of it, is that we will have close connections with these referrers. They will be coming through kind of in official ways. So we would never be sending a volunteer into a situation that we weren't sure about what support was needed. So I think yeah, we'll have a level of understanding, I think, of just what's needed within that situation. But I think as well, as it's important to remember for all volunteers that volunteer safety is really important. And so at any stage, if a volunteer turned up to support somebody and the situation was different than what was expected, then we wouldn't expect a volunteer to continue with that until we talked it through as well. So I think there's support from our end, there's support from Jules and Kate, and there's support from referrers. So hopefully we've kind of got an all-round package that means that there's no surprises, and that we all know kind of what we're going into to begin with as well.
And I picked the second bit up about the discounts. Yes, we're working on it. We haven't got any yet, but they're the kind of things that we're working on that we can ask for. I will say that we're also looking for potentially organisations like befriending organisations to look at whether you have any volunteers that could be trained up for nature buddies as well. That's another avenue that we were looking at going down, similar to the activity providers, where they become hosts for their own volunteers to actually, you know, enhance their role and have nature buddies, and nature buddy with under their role as well. So if you have any, we have another presentation for that, and we can have a chat. So if you have any volunteers that might be interested who are already befrienders but can use the nature side of it as well, then yeah, let us know and we can have a chat. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Katie.
Oh, hi, thank you, and thanks for the presentation. I was just wondering what happens next if you do want to sign up to be a nature buddy.
Get in touch with Helen, I think, or get in touch with us. And we can
suppose what would that look like? What so would it be a one-to-one discussion about who I am, and then you'd start the DBS and with training, and how long might it take to actually start being a nature buddy?
So we haven't launched it officially yet, but we are launching it, and this is what this is about, trying to get people's interest. Yeah. Time-wise, I'm not sure how long it takes for VCD to get it all up, and whether it actually needed DBS checks or not, I don't. That's why we've got Helen with us, you see.
Yeah, thanks. So DBS checks aren't needed, which is great. So that speeds up the process. So we were chatting about, we're hoping to get the opportunity live on our website and kind of up and running for you to sign up to within the next week. And once you sign up, we'll be able to have just more of a chat with you around kind of where you're based and your availability and things like that. But all of the training we're going to try and make available so that you can do it at any time, because everyone's busy, and we understand that it can be really nice to just have a cup of tea of an evening and do it then, rather than it taking up a chunk of a day. So we'll try and make everything really available to everybody at any time that suits them. And those bits shouldn't take too long at all, I don't think. It would just be a case of watching a few videos and maybe reading a couple of things. And then once you're happy and you've signed up and you're kind of all on the system, it's kind of a case of wait and see what referrals we get in. So if you're going to be volunteering with a host organisation, obviously your normal volunteering will continue with that organisation, and then when they get a referral for somebody that needs support, that's when you'll be called upon. And there's kind of no real knowing how frequently that will happen, or how quickly that will happen. And then with the home opportunities, how we're imagining that will happen is that we'll have a list of volunteers who are keen to support people from home, and you'll be split into areas so that you only hear about requests which are within your area of Dorset. Otherwise, you're going to kind of be getting a lot of things that aren't relevant to you. And so as a referral comes in, we'll send the email out with a few details. Say somebody wants to go for a walk once a week, could anybody help with that? It's in Dorchester. And then if you can help with that, then you would reply, and we can then send more information based on the safeguarding questions that we've asked from the referrer. But if you can't help with that, then you can just ignore the email and just kind of wait and see which other ones come in. So if referrals come in and you're not free, or you're thinking, oh, I'm actually really busy for the next few weeks, that's absolutely fine. You can kind of just like not reply for a bit and then respond when you are free. So hopefully it will be a really nice flexible way of it working for you when you want it to, but we don't want anyone to feel guilty about not responding if you're busy, because we understand that summer gets busy as well. So we want it to work in a time frame that works for you. But once you've signed up, it's sort of within hours that you're kind of on the holding list and ready to receive emails as and when they come through from referrers.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you. Susan.
Hi, yeah, it's a question I've actually asked in the chat. With regard to the sort of training requirements on there, if most of those things are actually covered in your current role, will you accept that as training rather than having to duplicate it again? Because obviously some of that's time consuming, isn't it?
As far as the nature stuff goes, for me, that's, yeah, there's a lot of optional extras. The mandatory training, the health and safety and stuff, I don't know whether the VCD have their own policies. That, I mean, it would be quicker to go through it, I suppose, because you've already got it. Is that the training you're talking about? Or you?
Yeah, all the like diversity, neurodiversity, safeguard, all that sort of stuff. It's obviously updated constantly with the role I'm doing now. So
Yeah,
I don't know about other people, but I work full time. So to suddenly do all that stuff again in my own time before I can even start that would be, it would almost rule me out, to be perfectly honest, if I had to do everything on that list. Additionally.
Oh no, so all of the so like the health stuff, the neurodiversity and stuff like that is optional. That's an optional. So if you've already got that, that's a benefit. The safeguarding and stuff, but the mandatory stuff, the safeguarding stuff for the core with Helen, would she have to? Because you have your own safeguarding outlines, don't you, and policies?
Yeah, so I think when we provide it to you, it will just be available to you forever. So I think if you had no knowledge of that, we would prefer you to watch that in the first instance and read the information. However, if you feel comfortable and confident, then that would be fine, but it's there as a reference if you needed it. So it would just be available to.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like a prerequisite and things like that, but no.
And obviously, like, we can't prove if people have watched the videos and read the things anyway. We can only take your word. So it's there to keep everybody safe. So it's there to keep you safe as well as the people that you're supporting. And so obviously we would prefer that people did engage with the material, but if you feel comfortable that you're at a level of training on some of the topics, then of course they're probably above and beyond anyway, than the you know, kind of basic training that we're providing anyway.
Lovely, that's fine, thank you.
I should just add to that actually that me and Jules will be doing a Nature Buddies induction video, which will be going as part of the Volunteer Centre Dorset package. So that one probably would be a really useful one to watch, because that kind of goes into the role and gives you kind of, yeah, some more tools to work with for that. Yeah, it kind of gives you a really good overview, a little bit about kind of the feedback process and that type of thing. So that will be available with the other training, and yeah, I probably recommend definitely doing that one.
But none of them are going to be long. It's going to be a sit down, have a coffee. Sit down, have a muffin.
Yeah.
You can sit down, eat another muffin, and watch
another video of me and Jules.
Talk on about it. Is there anybody else got any other burning questions before I let you all gain another 20 minutes and go out? As though it's a bit chilly today. No, we're here. If you go away and you have a question or you think about something, just get in touch with us and we'll answer if we can. Or any other questions that you have, or you want to discuss something, then that's perfectly fine. Just let us know. We're always here.
And I'll send out a copy of the slides anyway, so you've got that, and I can let you know when the offer goes live on the Volunteer Centre Dorset website as well, so then you can go in